Hello friends. Just need to figure out this face cam.
Yellow.
It is yellow. I can fix that by adjusting the white balance. That's a little better. And then let's bring palette cam. Hiya. Hiya. Not bad, mate. Not bad. It's going okay. We're getting there. Pan this way. Apply. Perfect. Look at me go. I'm a professional. It is a bit warm tonight, but that's okay. One of the downsides of living in Brisbane, I've just added a dog. I'm still just like probably a month or two out from a ponytail, so I can get this much up. So we're just a smidge short, maybe. I've added a dog. I've decided to put the witch hunter's dog into the scene, but we're not doing him tonight. We're going to do this big boy. Alexa, airbrush on. Thanks, Alexa. You are so good. I might need to change that to say something like Chuck sprays. I received your email today, Jared. I thank you for that. I will indeed take that under advisement for the CB event that we have coming up. Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good plan. It's good. It's good. Yeah, it sort of feels to me like that should be common sense stuff. But as you and I know, common sense isn't that common, especially when you're talking about safety-related issues. But then I go back to questioning. Well, okay, well if we've got people who aren't following the common sense, logical stuff, then have we picked the wrong judges? So, but yeah, I think it's a good thing to have. And just for context, there we have a document for people that we've asked to be judges, just around their ethics and their stuff that we'd like them to abide by, which I think is a pretty normal thing to have, but just moving our scene further towards a sustainable and inviting, constructive place to be. I would love to see the safety procedures, you're right. I would love to. I had a safety meeting today actually about driver safety, because we have a number of team members on the road a lot of the time, such as myself, and we have no real protocols for managing the well-being and safety of those people. I mean, we sort of do, but it's not like a concrete document that we refer to and say this is the processes you need to follow, etc. All right, we're going red on this creature. I've just painted a lot of green recently in this. Diorama's going absolutely ballistic, by the way. Absolutely ballistic. So, in yesterday morning's stream, we put it all together, and it actually looks awesome. I blacked the edges of the scene. The juices are well flowing, my friend. I don't know if you've seen, but yeah, I might show you. Let me do some red spraying, and then I'll show you what we're cooking with, because we are cooking. We are absolutely cooking. So much so that I said to Mossy I might have to drive to Guild's Inn just so I can bring this boy, because I think it's too big, just too big to bring to mail. It's gonna have to be FedExed, I think. Which if I'm fortunate enough to sell and I have to FedEx it overseas, that's okay. Because you can sort of factor that into the cost. But when you're bringing it to an event, you can't really factor that into the cost, you know. Alright, red done. We'll let that red dry for a bit, and I'll show off some of the boys I've been painting. The boys are back in town. What I really need is diorama cam. That's what I need. I need a spot, because I put it on a chair beside me, and then the chair swivels so I can sort of move it around. Alexa, airbrush off. So, yeah, no, it's cooking. We're looking good. All right, let me show you what we've got. Let's do a little bit more work on this guy. So this is Galen. So he's getting a little bit closer. He's not quite finished. We're going to do the... we just need to tweak some airbrushing and then work on the cloak a bit more. I tweaked this guy so he's a little bit greener and ties in with the scene a little bit. And then I've done this guy with his skeletal scariness. This guy, I'm sure you saw this guy, but yeah, skeletal. This is the dude I painted yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Jared has been wonderful tonight, Craig Zog. He's been supportive and helping me, so he gets to stay for the moment. Yeah, the skeletons are great. This guy's my favourite one. But yeah, they're really cool. I'll just tweak that down a bit so you can see. Yeah, look at that. That's sick. No, that guy's good. And then, what else we got? Necromancer. Tweaked a bit. Yeah, so we're at a point now where I reckon the only chick that isn't really done is this chick, and she's probably going to be... I'm just not vibing her at all, but... yeah, I got to do her. She's just a shit model. She's not a shit model, she's a lovely model, but I don't know. I've just had enough of her. Just had enough of her. It's supposed to look a little bit like Mossy, so... It'll be fine. I'll do her. Yeah, so you can't see it, but this is the... Oh, shit, don't drop it down there. This is the base. I added a tree. And I added the walls. And it's come to life. It's like that moment when you switch and everything starts coming together. So, yeah, switched gears. It's come together. I'm going to spray varnish this all tonight. Just to solidify some of the foliage. and then I'm gonna add some leaves across the base, just some basil leaves, always a good option. And yeah, it'll be ready for a resin pour on the top bit anyway. I'm going to do the resin pour in 2 parts. It's from a board game. I just stole it. Yeah, resin pour in 2 parts. So the top resin pour I'm going to do, because that's a river, and that's where this horsey is. He's in the river. And then the bottom resin pour is going to hold the big dragon in place. So I'm going to paint the big dragon before I do the bottom resin pour. And then I'm going to do like a little waterfall trickling down to the bottom area. So just like, yeah, coming together right now. So yeah, like I think I'm probably, it depends how long these, I've got 3 models left. It's evolved a little bit, yeah, it's always tweaking, you know, it's always changing and whatever. There's a fly on it, get off there, fly. Alexa, airbrush on. Ba-ding. Yeah, the dragon was always down the bottom. That was a pretty integral part of it. When I say the dragon, I mean like the big crawling lizard thing from the Kickstarter. That was always a key component. Yeah, no lift. I couldn't make it happen, mate. We're still on for the smoke machine though. And I may still do some lighting in the church. Wire up some LEDs to turn the church on. I definitely should do that actually. Yeah, that's happening. Ooh, I could do music. Push the button and the church music comes on. The lights go on. Alright, so last night I finished season 1 of Andor. So tonight I will start season 2 and I am very excited. Season 1 was an epic, a masterclass. If there is anyone who has not watched Andor, it is tremendous. I've not watched The Mandalorian, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Andor is the best Star Wars property available right now. 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt. And it's our God-forsaken right to be loved. Love, 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 love. Oh, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. Eat. Yeah, that's devastating. Hey, time stop. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. It really brought me down. I expected it though. I think I said to Seb, that I felt like it wasn't going to continue. So that's a real shame. I thought it had done enough in that last season to bring people back. But yeah, it is what it is. And now they're talking about how people that were complaining about it are like, yeah, it's so great. Now we can finally get an adaptation that'll fucking be closer to the source material. Fuckwits. The fact that you've blown this one up with a blazing pitchfork mob means that no studio is ever going to want to do a Wheel of Time property. Ridiculous to think that you'll be able to get that back. and happening. It's okay that people don't like things, but I don't think that means you need to stop other people enjoying those same things. But that's the world we live in. That's the internet and the mob. Got very political all of a sudden, didn't I? Stop that. It's fine, I'm okay. You just go out on the internet and you read people talking about Wheel of Time, and it's just mugs going, oh, it's the worst, strayed so far from the source material, the guy had his woke agenda and blah blah blah. And that's one perspective on it, but then they say, oh, I can't wait for them to now make a Wheel of Time show that actually is close to the source material. And you realise that these people don't understand anything about life. Because if Amazon can't afford to make a show like that, no one can afford it. Anyway, I got 3 wonderful seasons of Wheel of Time that were very enjoyable to watch, and it took me back to a great time when I was reading the Wheel of Time as a fresh youngster. That was the feeling it gave me. Ay, ay, ay. So I was just thinking I probably can show you the diorama scene just by pulling the camera off its stand, but not fucking around with the stand. I reckon I might do that. So let's do that, but I'll put the church on first so you can see. Oof. Oof. All right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's like, that's the feeling it gave me. It's like I'm watching something that I don't actually know what's going to happen, and I like that, you know? But anyway, we're going the wrong way there, Dano. Have you zoomed in ultra? No, you haven't. There's Ellie girl, just hanging out. How do we get a little bit more light on this situation? We do this. So there's the church with the walls now. Everything's smooth. And because of the genius conversations we had, this just slides in and off. Perfect. I added this little section, which is a nice rock that I just need to finish painting, and that's all good. Under here is the church where the dragon sits. She sits right there, so that's going to all be underwater. I've made that all cold and blue compared to the greens up the top. And we got the tree up the back here, which is poorly placed because there is a gravestone there, but you know, it's not supposed to be intelligent graveyard civil construction. Let me put the ghost on, because the ghost is epic. Don't drop that, Dano. ghost. Yes, there's the butt. And yes, so the other horse rider goes there, and this horse rider that I'm painting now to go here is the one that will be under resin. So. Now I don't have salty grapes, so don't say that I have salty grapes or sour grapes or any kind of grapes. But I have not been enraptured by the Amazon Lord of the Rings series, Rings of Power. And they announced another season or something else today. And I can admit to just being I felt a little bit upset by that. Felt like rubbing salt into the open wounds of my broken heart. Say lovey. Don't I? Terra Nova, that was another good show. It only got one season, didn't it? Or maybe it was two. Yeah. Yeah, that was the future play with the dinosaurs, wasn't it? Where they, yeah. Fuck, I watched a lot of that. But that was a long time ago. I didn't realise you were that old, Craigsog. Hey Alexa, airbrush off. Alexa, airbrush off. I don't really like zombie movies. They're fine. You know? There's a few that were good. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Look at my horse is amazing, give it a lick, woo! Tastes just like raisins. Ooh, that's dirty, do you think so? Got a fly. Got him too. Ha ha ha, you are my bitch. Alright, let's tweak some. Let's use some crazy contrast paints right now. just get a bit wild. Get a bit wild, Deno. You're playing it too safe, kid. Throw it out there. Don't go too crazy. Lemonade is made, sweet lemonade, sweet lemonade. Take you around the universe and all. Make back! The other spaces too. Think you'll find that the universe pretty much covers everything. Shut up, woman, get on my horse. The power of the airbrush, hey. You can just whip out a base coat like this, slap on some contrast paint, and you are already cooking. Yep. And I bet you could still sing every word. That's just a good colour combo, Deno. Like, you can't go past that. That's just classic stuff. Alright, I'm going to leave that to dry for a bit because I reckon it's time to go buck wild on this guy. Do I start with just a full rust for this guy's armour? I haven't done full rust, I've just done metallic rust. I reckon I'm doing full rust. Let's try that. So I'm kind of breaking the rules of the palette a little bit with this guy because the rest of the scene is very cold, blue and dark. And then I've got this guy who I've done in reds and like warm greens, and it kind of goes counter to what I'm doing, but yeah, we'll do, mate. I'll plug that for you, everyone. Guild's In, coming up soon. Buy your tickets. You can also buy a ticket to my class. My class is called Bustin' Loose, or Busting Out, or Bust a Move, I can't remember. One of those. If you'd like to participate in any of the great classes that we have on offer, there's 5 other people doing classes, and I reckon all of their classes will be better than mine. So I would buy theirs before you purchase my tickets. But yeah, busting that out. It'll be there. Alright, let's just go a little bit of this brown Bobby Dazzler. Dry that off a bit. Ellie's having a good time in here. Finally get away from the trouble and strife, hey Ellie? This guy's got a very Mouth of Sauron vibe, and I love it. Alright, so we're just going to dry brush some orange, and then we will just go hammer and tong with our dirty down. Oh. I swear, Craig, look, you're a funny guy sometimes. Funny guy. You're okay, little Ellie, aren't you? Yep. Good. Alright. Let's dirty down this. Let's getting dirty with it. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Getting dirty with it. Na 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 na. I forgot to dry brush orange. That's fine. I'll make it work. I'll make it work. Alright, let's add a little bit of bluey black, and then we can transfer to some brushwork. one of the great things about painting an undead horde. You don't have to worry about the stuff being neat. Oh, it's my turn in Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. I might take my turn while we're waiting for some paint to dry. And you can all admire my start to this game. I'm having a very good start. Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. This game is called A Slanderous Betrayal, akin to 9/11. Very amusing. He took the two things that I wanted. You are a pest, Koki. An absolute pest. It's not worth the risk. Is there a Suez? There is a Suez. Alright, so I won't skip. Is it worth scientifically cooperating? Sure. Let's see if you want to be scientifically collaborative. What a game. Alright, let's get some orange. Let's see this one. So I think what I'm going to do is just go straight into like edge highlights and then see how we go. Maybe I'll reverse stipple. I'll stipple on some greys. That might work. I'll do that now actually. Let's stipple on some greys. So I've kept a little chunk of foam alongside my painting area the last few days because it's proved very useful for irregularities. Hello, Doms. I never worry about like some paint being slightly wet. Sometimes when I do stuff, I always feel like, yeah, it'll just create some really interesting blends and colours and patterning, and I'll just be able to work with it, I think. Sometimes it backfires, but usually it works out okay. So yeah, I reckon another wash of chestnut and maybe some stippled dirty down, and we'll be cooking here. So I said it yesterday and I said it a couple of times, but we just got to keep in mind now that models that are further in the scene, deeper, we can't afford to spend the same level of time on them, nor should we. We should be focusing our efforts on the key showstoppers and have these just be little side highlights. Might have to go to the small one. One thing that I'd forgotten about in my absence from Party Mondays is that Party Mondays were always a real struggle for me in terms of coming up with stuff to talk about, because most of the time I talked about it the day before. So either I find myself just repeating stuff that I'd already said yesterday, or there just is a lot of silence. And I would assume, perhaps incorrectly, that people that come to this stream would like to hear some of my thoughts and musings. That could be wrong. Maybe some people are just here to watch me paint, or make a fool of myself. Maybe it's all three. I'm interested. Hello, I'm Mr. Mozka. Yeah, I honestly haven't had an awful lot of opportunities to catch up with young Andrew for quite a while. He and I both had hectic last couple of months. I obviously moved. He's also moved. His house was a lot bigger than mine, and he was a lot more settled. So he's been out of the swing of things. I don't think he's done an awful lot of painting. So we haven't even really had our post Crimson debrief, because everyone's been just busy and stuff. So I speak to him. We send each other occasional funny memes. But that's been the extent of it in the last few months. But yeah, now that Party Monday is back on track, and hopefully he's moved into a new place, we'll be able to bring Sat Gen back. It is unfortunately how it goes sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah, my last few months has just been ballistic. Mossy and I had probably our first real down weekend on the weekend just gone. And even that was still, we had lunch for her birthday, and then Saturday I did some bricklaying this week. I don't know if I talked about that. But yeah, so in this new gaming room that we're in right now, which is the hobby haven for all discerning gentlemen and ladies and friends. There was an old school it's a very nice story. $10 to $14 a day. You make content full time. Well, there you go. And you trace it back to the feedback that I gave you. So let me just reflect on that for a moment, right? Because a lot of people don't like the way that I give feedback. They find it off-putting. And I think that's because most people don't actually want to get better. They just want to feel some positivity from someone they admire, or just whomever at any moment. And I think that we really need to be truthful. I think our time on social media has changed the way that we communicate, for the worse in most cases, away from saying things that are uncomfortable or sharing how we feel because it's socially not as acceptable. Going on quite a divergence here, and it's moments like this where someone says that the feedback that was given has helped change the way they think about painting and changed a few things. I feel like that is a really nice thing to hear, and a nice example of why truth is sometimes better than being liked. Anyway, maybe I was great, maybe I was super kind and nice, but more than likely that wasn't the case. Thank you for sharing the story, Heresy for Heretics. That's a nice story to share. And congratulations on making content full time. That's okay, Craig's on. You're allowed to feel however you want to feel. feel free to share your links and stuff, Heresy. Don't feel like you can't promote or share your stuff on here. I don't think I've ever said to anyone you're not allowed to share on here, so. Think about it. There must be higher love. Stop. Found it. Yeah, do it. Look inside your heart when I look inside of mine. It's so bad everywhere. Yeah, it's important that we stress that fact, Craig Zog. You know, it's okay that someone wants that type of feedback, right? Let me caveat that. It's okay that people want that kind of feedback, but that's usually not what they need. You know, in most cases, people need to hear the hard conversation if they want to reach a level to improve. But most people, some people, just aren't ready to hear that, or aren't in a position to take that on. So I did a judging thing a few years ago and last year as well on the Kingdom Death Discord. A lot of fun. Bucks and I did it together, and we also had Red Av for the first year. And who's to say we may get a chance to do that again in the future, which I would love to do. But it was really interesting reading the comments afterwards. You know, I was just in my space and doing my thing. But yeah, a lot of the comments afterwards were people felt attacked. Hey, slangers. Attacked was probably the word that I would use. People felt attacked by our commentary. And I did try to modulate a fair bit for... No, I would never attack you, mate. Never. Yeah. The lesson is sometimes you need to hear hard truths to get better, but not everyone is in a position to hear those hard truths at the time. And I think erring on the side of telling people what they need to hear is better than blowing smoke up someone's ass. But I'll tell you another thing about providing feedback in general. I'm not very... I'm good at it from a certain level, but Dave and Bucks, those guys just spend hours and hours and hours thinking about models and talking about models, and I just don't. I thought about this guy today. I thought, I'm going to start with a red base. And then I started painting. You can, yeah, for sure. You can for both of yous. And yeah, a dude who wants me to do a commission asked me, oh, you know, what are you going to do? Let's bounce around some ideas. And I said, I don't know. Don't have any ideas. I'm just going to paint it. I'm just going to have fun, and that's how I do it. So I'm probably not the best at providing feedback in general, but separate conversation. Yeah, it's just fucking paint, man. Just do some painting, have some cool painting, and have some fun. And that's it. You've come into the conversation slightly tail-ended there, slangers, but yes, that's the gist of what we were saying. Honesty is important. Alright, I'm in the flow at the moment, so it probably won't be for a little bit, but I promise I will indeed share some thoughts. I haven't felt this motivated for painting in quite a while, so that's okay, also fine. So it's nice to be back there. Alright, am I about to airbrush some orange? Maybe? Is that crazy? I mean, it is. Before we do that, let's do some skin highlights. What colour are we going to use for that? Purulent yellow sounds like a plan. Mixed in with a tiny little bit of green, olive green. Is that light enough? Probably not. Hey, rectum. Yeah, when you're in the zone, you gotta feed the beast. Especially when it feels like you've been missing it for 3 or 4 months. How'd we go, Moss? Good job, Ellie girl. Alright, Mossy. Yeah, I haven't tasted it, but it does smell delicious, so I do wanna have a little nibble. I'd love that. Yep. No, I might just give some red. I might spray some red. That might be the go. Cool. Yeah, it was tough. The last 6 months have been pretty full on for me. But finally started to settle down. Back injury, yeah, that wouldn't be a good time. No, for me it was just the job situation, and then the moving house, and then Mossy being in a spot where I couldn't really paint. What are you sniffing over there, dog? Alright, let's get a bit of black. Yeah, big things are fun. I'll be painting the biggest thing very soon. It's the dragon from this Kickstarter. It's a big model. That by itself is like a big project. And I've tucked it into a giant diorama. Alright, I reckon we are going to do some orange airbrushing, but we'll try and be very delicate, which, as many of you know, is my middle name. I tell you what, that's one of the reasons I rarely get to the Brisbane meetup. That, and because most of my painting is about airbrushing. But if I am going to a painting meetup, I want to paint. I don't want to talk. If I wanted to talk, I'd go to a talking meetup. I think it's mid-delicate today, mate. They're teasing me and calling me mid-rig, saying that I'm not the biggest guy, even though objectively Jared and I are the same height. That's a very, very strong use of the word objectively. Alright, orange. Hey Alexa, airbrush on. Thank you. Where's me? Ooh, this might be a bit too orange. This is hot orange. But let's try some splashes. I love rock and roll. So come and take your time with the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll. Come take your time and dance with me. I got new internet at the house. It's pretty good. Same provider, but now I've got fibre to the home or something like that. It's faster internet. So you probably won't even see frames dropping. I could probably even stream in 4K if I wanted. If I could figure out how to set up 4K streaming. I did try it. Hard work. Where is she? It is the dream. Hey Alexa, airbrush off. Alright, let that dry for a bit, so let's have a look at some toys. Super cool. How do I put that on my screen? Like this. Hey. Look at me go. That belongs to Heresy for Heretics. How cool. What a vibrant style. That's like Neon Knights all over. That's unreal. Let's have a look at Crackers. Yeah, super cool. Dirty paint order. Did you surely don't want feedback on that, mate? You're already a better painter than I am. No, I didn't mean Craigs, I meant Slangers. This is boring, you are right, Slangers. It's a boring thing. It's good, because all the colours are clear. I reckon the only thing that you need to do is break up that red. Put a black and white red or white and red, like Avaland. You do that and you'll be absolutely sick. Because yeah, all the metal's cool. Yeah, you're right, the chain's a bit sloppy. The gold probably doesn't quite read as well as the metal does, because you've highlighted a little bit more generally rather than the bright point of light you've got up there. So, but yeah, just like do some either quarter it, so white and, or just do a white stripe. And maybe you could have a Seven Nation army join you along the way. Boom, 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 boom. I'm on a Wichita. A Seven Nation army couldn't hold me back. gonna work some. Yeah, what red did you use? Are you still banging on the war crows or whatever colours you bought, the shit ones that we were saying were shit, and then you decided they were good? You still on those? On the Queen of England, hounds of hell. Yep, AK. Can't go wrong with AK. What colours do you use, Heresy? That's some vibrant colours. What do you use? Army painter. Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. You can paint to that standard with army painter paints. There are people who say that's not possible. I'm not one of those people. But there are people. Yep, that's a fair statement. I used to use a lot of satin finishes, but I tend towards matte these days, knowing that if I want to get a satin finish, I can tweak it with a satin varnish or what have you. Alright, this guy's looking okay. Let's add some Had some little rust streaks with the old chestnut ink from scale 75. I used to do a lot more wet blending than I do these days. I lean on the airbrush for so much nowadays. It's just such a useful tool. I did hear about it. It's a sad state of affairs. I think there was a few factors that contributed. The big child had quite a lot tied up in a relationship with an American company that went conspicuously silent due to the tariffs that were being imposed on the board game world at the time, which has calmed down now. But that created a real uncertain environment, yeah. And so I think what happened was they tried to shore up some other relationships. I don't really hold anyone to blame in this situation, and obviously we don't have the full story, so it's hard to know who was in the right or who was in the wrong. But I observed the Spanish proclivity for passionately decrying their position at Monty a few years ago. They believe in things very strongly, and that's why that sort of stuff happens. They want to. Don't know. They want to have it out in the open, but they're passionate. You know, they want to share how they feel and what's happening. And it's very, very. It is popcorn viewing for us, but it also makes me feel a little uncomfortable about that. But anyway. Alright, that guy looks pretty good for what have we been spent here? An hour and a half on this and the Horsey. Yep, boy. It is damaging, yeah. I'll talk about a similar situation that is probably less divisive to people of this community. There was a period there where I was playing a board game called Aeon Trespass Odyssey, and the person who basically came up with the company that made this board game is also very passionate and got involved into a heated online disagreement with another YouTube personality, and just absolutely took him to town. And both sides came out of it for the worse. And I think the takeaway that I had from watching the way that all went down, and both sides sharing their side of things, it just reinforced why I dislike social media. Really reinforced why I dislike it. But yeah, as a result, they engage with a person who does social media online. So that company now has just the one person who interacts with the community. And it's hard to say that that's the wrong approach. I think it's probably the right approach. That guy doesn't respond and doesn't talk in public anymore. So yeah, rightly or wrongly, that's what came out of that. Even just like I found myself recently, as I open up Facebook, and I have a couple of groups that I follow. One's a board games buying group, couple of board games that I like to follow, and then a few miniature painting ones, right? So I like to just check in on those and see if there's any board games I want to buy or whatever. And that's about it. But what happens is my Facebook page opens up on the home page instead of the groups page, which is where I wanted to open up. And so what I get is stuff that I've obviously stopped on and looked at before for a little period of time. And it's usually people posting, am I the arsehole questions, where they talk about some family drama and how they responded emotionally, and then they ask, so am I the arsehole? And I sit there and read it. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Why am I reading this? Because clearly, just like in just about every single situation in life, both people are kind of in the wrong, and yes, you probably are a little bit of an asshole, and yes, the other person is probably a little bit of an asshole, but realistically, both people have probably done some wrong things, and we just need to accept that and try to be better human beings. Not complicated. But I'm sucked in. I sit there reading it for like 5 or 10 minutes before I go and stop myself. Stop doing this, Dano. This is just dumb shit. It's a waste of your time. Yeah, exactly. Rubbish. Anyway, I've gone again on a wild tangent. The human brain has been rewired with social media for these little weird dopamine hits, and it's not good. It's not good. Oh, it's hilarious, and you think to yourself, how do you even get in that situation? What is wrong with you? And again, you realise, hang on a second, the people that are on this page, they're the problem, because they're the ones who are following Facebook trends and voting in stupid policies, or, you know. But anyway. Yeah, so remember, Dano, this one is mostly front on. So you probably want to go more front on with your focus than you currently are. Anyway, the world we live in, I'm not perfect, But every 5 minutes or so, I realise what I'm doing, and I go, Dano, there are better things you could be doing with your time. And I go and paint a model, play a board game, or play Marvel Snap, which could be debated is also not a better use of my time, but at least it's forcing my brain to do some maths and calculate probability and stats. This side is less important because this is definitely hidden, but it just looks like a nice little bit here. Yeah, look at that. It's lovely stuff, Dano. Was that me that said that? My dad actually said something to me which has stuck with me. It actually is, as funny as it is, it's also relevant in this context, which is we're not here to fuck spiders. And my dad used to say that unironically. Like, people think I joke when I'm saying that, but generally I say it because it's like, I'm not here to fuck around. I'm not here to waste time. I'm here to paint models, chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Yeah, I reckon all Australian dads say it. My dad likes to have a little gamble every now and then on the horsies and on stuff, and anytime he sees a good bet, he'll tell me, "Did you hear a knock? Did you hear a knock at the door?" Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm sure I heard a knock. Who's that? I'm like, I don't know. Who is it, Dad? He's like, oh, it's probably the police coming to arrest me because I've just stolen money at that price. Anyway. Good man, Francesco, my dad. Don't think he's ever been on stream, but funny character. Hey, Elise. Welcome. And Elise's wonderful audience, welcome to the stream. For joining at this very moment in time, you get the privilege of looking at one of my dioramas. Let's watch Neon Nights. Here it is. Yep, glows in the dark. Has some little LEDs. Yep, Here's another one. I did another one. I don't know if you've seen that one, but you can watch this one as well. Thank you. Yes, I'm pretty happy with how our undead little Horsey's going. He's also a part of a big diorama that's nearing completion. So soon we'll have a new video to add to the rotation. That's fun. I do these just for fun. Yeah, I just make cool dioramas. I do offer them for sale afterwards when I'm finished, but I don't make them with the intention to sell them. I just sort of make them because I like dioramas. My guiding principle when it comes to toy soldiers is I try to do stuff that young me would love and think is really cool. Because I think that's a good motivation. And young me used to be wowed by model train scenery and all sorts of miniature art, and now I have the financial capacity to do crazy stuff. So sometimes I lack the skill, but we try, we learn, and we move on. Yeah, we'll probably do fluoro green eyes, even with the red that we've got going on, because the necromancer is summoning everyone with fluoro green magic, and so all these little guys are coming up out of the ground with glowing green stuff going on, or glowing green swords even. Thank you, Elisa. I wish I could say that it was innovative, but I stand on the shoulders of giants, people that were much better than me, that have learned from, and yeah. I will show everyone the diorama in all its glory probably in about 5 or 10 minutes actually, so, or at least where we're at now that we've done this horse situation. I did forget his armband. That's alright. He sits right at the back. He sits right at the back. No one's going to look at him. I'm going to leave that armband unpainted just so when you look at it, all you'll be able to see is that unpainted armband. And that will forever be my gift to you. Oh, I don't have Mossy here to translate for me. She told me a funny story this morning, Mossy. I'll see if I can remember the German component of it, because that's kind of the bit that makes it funny. But she was an au pair in Germany for a little while when she was younger, and she was learning German at the time, and she came home from a walk and it was very hot, and she tried to say to the father, something is warm. She's tried to say I am warm, but apparently the way that she said it, it meant I am horny instead of I am warm. Das ist something. Anyway, yeah. But you're supposed to say Mein ist warm. Yeah, that's it. Ich bin heiß means I am horny. Even though heiß means hot, I think. But yeah, you're supposed to say something very different. So yes, that was yeah. So that's a funny little German story for you. Mossy on fire. Yep. Can't take her anywhere, can you? Especially not Germany. That'll get painted over with glossy blood effects, in case you're wondering why that looks a little bit weird right now. And the glossy blood effects will tone that down quite a lot. Let's just do a little bit more on the hair strands. And I reckon we can glue these two together. Yeah, it does. It does look pretty creepy looking. The reds probably made it look a little bit unnatural right now, but yeah, the color that I'm going to use is a glossy red, and it's quite dark. So when you use that, what it does tend to do is it really kills the color. So you want a light color underneath, so you can sort of see the red. But anyway, that's not going to happen until after I've done basically everything. That'll be one of the last things I do. Where's me ink tense chestnut at? We might use a little bit of this. Riders of the Storm. Craigsog, do you just say songs that you know I'll sing just so that you can make me sing them? Is that what happens? Am I just falling into your trap every time? Am I that stupid? Thanks, Elise. You're wonderful. Enjoy your dinner. Why have you locked in? My guy? Come out. Come out. Don't break. Just come out. Lisa's lovely, by the way. Everyone should go follow her channel. Always very, very generous. Raids here all the time. Wonderful human. Does cool stuff. Let's see how this horsey looks on our little horsey stream. Oh, this is gonna be sick. Alright, how do I make you stand up like that? I need to glue you in like that. Okay. It looks sick. I'll show you. Yeah, that's cool. Alright. Just need to tweak a little bit of the lighting just fractionally, because that's our viewing angle there. I'm really tempted to glue that guy in. I'm really tempted. No, the armband's definitely not getting done at all, my friend. At all. Just so you can look at it and go, Dano, why? Ich bin weiß, or whatever it was. Why are you horny, Dano? Oh, it's happening. I'm a funny guy. Alrighty then. Yeah, it's been a fun return to painting this, I have to say. And there was a number of weeks where I sort of got on stream and I talked about the diorama, and I talked about, I'm not letting myself get down about not painting it, because I know it'll happen. I know it'll come back. I've proven to myself that my track record is good, and I know that I'll be coming back to this diorama in some form at some time. And so I provided myself that space. And there's certainly been times in the past where I haven't done that. And to have found myself now at this point working through this, I feel rewarded and justified in my belief in myself. And that is not good, because it's built up my confidence to a level that's probably unassailable now. Unassailable. I can never be assailed. Oh, I hate it as well. I hate having projects there. I've got projects up there that have been sitting there for years, and I can't bring myself to do them. And every time I say to myself, you know what, Dano, you should really just finish those off. And I start one with enthusiasm, and then, gone. Gone a few short seconds. But for a big project like this, I mean, without putting a specific number on it, I've spent over 4 digits of money onto this project. The models alone were about 1,200. So to now be at a point where I'm back into it and feeling motivated and likely going to finish it, it's a good feeling. Yeah, I'm going to finish up now, friends. It's been a wonderful 2 hours. I did indeed. I did sell it, Sleepy Slang. It was a tough decision. It was a really tough decision. But I just it's one of the few things I don't feel comfortable sharing with most people, because it's hard to explain. I didn't put anything of myself into that because it was just something I held on to for a while. And people put value on, like I put value on my artwork, and I want people to know what I value it at, so that they understand what it's going to be. So I'm always open about sharing how much I charge for my models and all that sort of stuff. But I feel kind of guilty for selling this for what was a profit, having really, in my eyes, not done anything. And it's hard to explain why that is, but yeah, I feel guilty. So. Oh my god, this is gonna look sick! Yeah, but I felt guilty, so I sent some other models with it. Which in my mind sort of made the price that I charged for it feel a little bit more justified maybe, warranted, acceptable. It was a weird couple of days, but I put the aircon in this room, so it's hard for me to feel like I made a wrong decision. Not that I'll need that for a few months. All right. I got a dog. We're going to paint Ellie. Ellie's going to be added to the scene, which is nice. Oh, beautiful, Craig's dog. What? How can we top that? That's a way to finish tonight's session. Well played. What a cool way to finish. Outstanding. All right, I'll be back on Sunday, and if all goes to plan, I might have poured some resin, and we might be getting very close to a finished story. Who knows? Who knows? All right, I will catch you all next week. Have a great week. Big down.